Bizarre Brain Comics. Hello, my comic book friends, and welcome to Bizarre Brain Comics. I am Gary, your host, and happy Valentine's Day. Yes, and this is a Valentine's Day special. I want to take a look at this book right here. This is Secret Hearts 131, 1968 from DC Comics. And this is yet another book from the Delberta collection. If you've listened to my channel, you may be familiar with the Delberta collection. About 50 years or so ago, I acquired it. I was a kid. My best friend's older sister, who is like a surrogate sister to me, had outgrown comic books, or so she thought. And knowing that I was a comic book fan, she handed me a big stack of her comics, primarily stuff like teen humor and romance comics. And it's stuff that I probably wouldn't ordinarily have gotten, but I read them. I enjoy them, and I've kept most of them. And as I said, Delberta collection. She used to put her name on the cover and sometimes on the interior, as she did here on inside page, first page. So that's how I know that this is part of the Delberta collection. And I'm glad she did, so that I do know that, and I can now keep all of what I've got left of that collection. And there's a lot of titles that I probably would not otherwise have bought. Some of the off-brand teen humor stuff that wasn't Archie, and then romance comics. And as I said, this book was from 1968, and it has an ongoing soap opera serial in it, which is called Reach for Happiness. This one features episode 22, and that's what I'm going to take a look at. And Reach for Happiness was, as I said, episode 22. First off, Secret Hearts ran from 1949 to 1971 with 163 issues. And Reach for Happiness began in issue 110, running for 29 episodes, and it started with the art by Gene Colan, and is one of the longest running serials, which took place largely, but not exclusively, in the fictitious town of Danville Corners. And I think last year I covered the last episode in this serial. But I like this one because it takes place in Hollywood. Yeah, and our main character is trying to become an actress, trying to be a star. In my research for this, I saw two artists listed, no listing for the writers. Two artists, pencilers listed anyway. One is John Romita, who did the first story in here, and Tony Abruzzo, who I believe drew this story we're going to look at, and may have also drawn the other one, with inks listed as by Bernard Sachs. And here, take just a little brief glance here. So there you can see Delberta wrote her name on the inside cover, and you can see these may have been reprints from earlier stuff. But if you look closely, you can see the John Romita pencils in here under these inks. There's little things. That doctor's face right there, for example, this young man's face, and of course the lovely features of the very lovely young lady. Then the second story, Duel of Hearts. I like the lettering used here for the titles. Actually, it's much better than what's used here on the masthead on the cover. This cover is also the splash panel for this particular story, so they repurposed it for the cover. So you can see here, this is very. I know this artist. I'm just not sure who it is. Who did this story? Again, very lovely. Some nice work. Nice work. So there we go. You can see the repurposed splash page. Now this is a 15-page story, which includes the splash page and the list of characters, which we're going to take a look at in just a second here. There we have Reach for Happiness. Here it is. You see the man here. Oh, she's very beautiful. He's still in love with her. So the lady is crying. So they're obviously talking about the lovely young lady on the screen. But there's this illustration is kind of misleading. The page is kind of torn there. And here we have the cast. And this is our main character here. What's her name? Karen Wilder Summers. And characters around her. Most prominently is BW. And he's a real piece of work. He's a big-time movie producer. And of course, being... and then this is another person, Barry Gordon, who takes place in this story, who's prominent in this story, as well as Greg Marsh, who is Barry Gordon is the director of for Karen's late husband when he was an actor, and then Greg Marsh is her former fiance, who has always carried a torch for her. And we're right in the middle of the drama as we begin, as is appropriate for a soap opera. And it's very nice artwork. Good expressions, characterizations, nice backgrounds, nice visual storytelling, and it gets with some very interesting layouts later on. Right here, there's Greg Marsh chewing out BW as he intruded on BW and Karen. And there's Karen all dressed up in an evening gown and apparently on some kind of date that he has coerced Karen into. He's trying for what's called the casting couch. That's where, well, sexual coercion of actresses by directors, producers, etc. For parts in movies, and is not condoned, but has been widely used throughout the history of Hollywood. While while Barry is chewing him out, then Gordon turns on him and threatens his job, threatens to blackball him. He'd never work in Hollywood again, and he gets very nervous. And eventually he backs down while Karen pretty much thanks him for standing up for him. And she talks BW into not firing Barry, and to save his job and career, she is willing to remain with him. Just a lovely image of her right there on this creep. So she's pretty much agreeing to the casting couch as Barry leaves. So again, very lovely and interesting, visually interesting page layout to break up what would otherwise just be talking heads. And the director kisses her, and you can see from her expression here, she's just a cold fish. She's letting him do what he wants, but she's not going to respond positively, and he doesn't like that. He says, "Kissing you was fine, thrilling, I might say, but you didn't kiss me. In a way, I don't blame you. I'm pretty ugly, blah, 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 blah." He says he's trying to, then he takes her and they go to the studio in his roles and stuff. Very nice, again, very nice page layout. Makes it an otherwise mundane event visually interesting. And they go into the studio and he's talking about his power, and because he knows he or thinks he can get her to be more willing to be with him, to love him, because he knows he's not attractive, but he's got power and influence and money. And here they're on the soundstage where a film is being produced. Very nice splash here, and very interesting with the images of behind the scenes, the machinery, the cameras, lighting, all that stuff, while the actors are working on the soundstage. Yada yada yada. And then goes to the screening room. There had been a party, and she didn't know that they were being filmed. "Say, isn't that your place?" And that's where she has slapped him. "What? You had hidden cameras. I wanted you to get a good look at yourself, Karen." And he said, but see, the camera loves you. You would be wonderful on the screen. And so he said, "Now, with me, I can make you a big star." Again, a very, very lovely depiction of her right here. And again, the nice detail in the machinery and stuff. And this causes her to have a daydream. And this is where that original splash panel and cover illustration comes in. Here's something about in her momentary daydream, a movie that she is starring in, and her ex-fiance taking another girl to the movies. Long line, because she's a local girl. Went to the movies, and then seeing her on stage, and the other girl is with he's still in love with her, and then she's in tears. And that is where that cover came from, in her daydream. And then she says, "I'll think it over. I'll think your proposition over." And that is our conclusion to this episode. As the drama continues, then to punch it up a little bit, we have what is unusual: little snippets of scenes of things to come. Now, you expect that on television, but it's something you don't expect in a comic book, to have previews, as it were. There we go. And that is our nice depiction. No, it doesn't matter. It says, don't miss the next exciting issue of Secret Hearts. So that is what we've got for our Valentine's Day episode of Bizarre Brain Comics. And I hope you enjoyed that. Really, I wonder if DC has ever reprinted these serials other than just a few episodes or something. Because this is 29 episodes. That would make one nice overall graphic novel. One nicely sized. Would probably be good sized. And if did a trade, relatively inexpensive trade paperback, it may well sell. I don't know. At least to some of the collectors and older readers, but as something that would not be cost prohibitive, like some of the other reprint books, which are so huge and hardback and expensive printing and are just cost prohibitive. If they made one that wasn't cost prohibitive, even had they done it, this would have been great for something like their showcase reprints. Maybe they did, I don't know. But that's what I think. So thank you for joining me. Please like, share, subscribe, leave a comment. What do you think of this? Do you think it would be that would be interesting for a reprint of this or one of the other serial romances that they had? Let me know in the comments. And remember, comics are art.